Today I'm going to be showing you why couples who retire at the same time can face some unexpected challenges. One of the most common retirement mistakes I see couples make is choosing not to retire if both partners can't retire at the same time. And through my conversations with couples, this isn't because they don't understand their savings, it's because they overlook a few important things that influence their shared retirement plan. So that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to show you how staggering your retirements can produce some nice financial and psychological advantages. Now, most partners generally want to retire together. In my experience, this is because it's actually a simpler exercise. You have to run fewer financial models, the modelers are simpler, and both partners get to share in the experience of the newness of retirement together. But there are three common problems that couples retiring at the same time might face. Now, the first and most obvious problem is that retiring at the same time is going to put greater financial strain on a couple's retirement savings. I'm going to show this on the screen in just a moment by illustrating two different modern guardrails scenarios for the same hypothetical couple. One scenario where both partners retire together right away, and a second scenario where one partner retires right away while the second partner continues to work for 2 additional years. All the data input into both scenarios is going to be exactly the same. They're going to have the same life expectancy, the same future Social Security income amounts, the same end-of-life care cost estimates, and the same spending desires and goals. Now, in this scenario here, Steve is 64 years old and Amanda is 62 years old. The plan is going to estimate a 33-year life expectancy for each partner, meaning Steve will live till age 97 and Amanda lives in this plan until age 95. They have about $1,185,000 in retirement savings that's invested in a 60% stock, 40% bond portfolio. $1,100,000 of that $1.18 million are in pre-tax accounts, while the remaining $85,000 are in non-retirement accounts or brokerage accounts, meaning most of their money is going to be taxed in retirement when they take withdrawals. Now, the only difference between the two scenarios is going to be that Amanda is going to have a continuing income from her job as a teacher of around $70,000 per year, while her husband Steve retires January 1st, 2025. We're using Income Lab's modern guardrails software for the test cases that I'm going to show on the screen over the course of this video. Now, in both scenarios, I've supplied Income Labs with the details I just showed on the screen, as well as income settings. Income settings are the parameters that tell the software how comfortable Steve and Amanda will be with making a spending adjustment at some point during their retirement. Now, in both scenarios, I'm going to have the same income settings. Specifically, I'm going to be telling the software that Steve and Amanda are comfortable with a 20% probability of needing to make a spending adjustment at some point in their retirement. This could be equated to something like an 80% Monte Carlo or probability of success score. Income Labs is going to generate two different sets of guardrails as well as withdrawal models that I'm going to run through with you now. Now, as a reminder, the first problem when retirees retire together is the additional strain that this places on the couple's retirement savings. So by retiring at the same time, Steve and Amanda would be giving up two income sources simultaneously and then needing to replace both sources immediately out of their portfolio. Now, this chart on the screen here is a guardrails chart, and it's going to illustrate this in numeric format. The top chart is an export of the scenario in which Steve and Amanda retire together on January 1st, 2025. In this scenario, Steve and Amanda would have an annual spending capacity of $130,000 per year, so long as they followed these portfolio guardrails, which I'm going to go through with you now. The guardrails tell them when they would be required to take a spending decrease in retirement in order to bring their plan back to safety. Or if things are going well, the guardrails will also tell Steve and Amanda when they might be able to give themselves a pay raise in retirement. Now, with their portfolio currently at $1,185,000, their guardrails tell them that if they were to have a 20% reduction in portfolio value, they would need to decrease their spending by 5%. I'm going to ignore the upper guardrail for this video, and the thing to illustrate here is that Steve and Amanda's guardrails operate on a set of unseen trade-offs. The first is that the plan is going to front-load potential withdrawals for this couple because it knows that at a future point in time, they will have new income sources kick in, specifically Social Security. Now, as a result, when both partners retire simultaneously, Income Labs tells Steve and Amanda that they could withdraw nearly 11% of their portfolio in year one of their retirement. Now, in exchange for that, Steve and Amanda would have to follow those unseen rules. Specifically, they'd have to be comfortable with a relatively tight lower guardrail of 20%. The reason this guardrail is tight is because of the high withdrawal rate, which effectively eats into the lower guardrail. So for example, say Steve and Amanda's portfolio had a no growth year, a 0%, started this one value and ended at the same value. Their guardrail tells them that they don't need to do a spending adjustment until the portfolio goes down by 20%. At the same time, Steve and Amanda would follow their guardrails and withdraw the allowance of 11% of their portfolio, and this effectively leaves them with a lower guardrail that is now only 9% away from being triggered and resulting in a required spending reduction. And that's why I said it was tight, because once they do the withdrawal, there's not a lot of lower guardrail remaining as cushion. Now let's look at scenario 2, where Amanda continues to work 2 additional years, earning $70K per year. In this scenario, Steve and Amanda's recommended withdrawal amount would be $52,900 or 4.46% of their portfolio value. Now, if we play out the same no growth scenario, Steve and Amanda's guardrails tell them they don't need to do a spending adjustment until the portfolio goes down by 21% in this case. So a slightly wider guardrail, but nothing to write home about. Steve and Amanda follow the guardrail's withdrawal allowance and they withdraw 4.46% of their portfolio, which in this case leaves them with a lower guardrail that is now 16.5% away from triggering, as opposed to 9% in the prior example, and therefore they have a lower likelihood of having a required spending reduction. Now, I demonstrated this in this specific manner to illustrate one key point, which is that withdrawals eat into your lower guardrail capacity. Now, if we look at this second spreadsheet here, we can see Steve and Amanda's withdrawal phases over the next 6 years. And the idea with this sheet is that withdrawals are not level across every year of someone's retirement because you'll have income sources kick in different years of your retirement. Now, in scenario 1, the top here, where both partners retire immediately, Steve and Amanda have a risky front end of their retirement because their withdrawal rates are quite high. Their guardrails are quite tight, and the odds of them needing to make a spending adjustment to the downside are therefore highly probable. Only after they both begin receiving Social Security here in 2029 and 2030 do their withdrawal rates fall and give their portfolio some breathing room. Now, conversely, in this second scenario here, where Amanda works 2 additional years, their withdrawal rates are actually pretty modest. They only have 2 years of substantial withdrawal rates in the middle in 2027 and 2028, during which they might have a higher probability of requiring a spending adjustment. But then Social Security kicks in and again provides their portfolio breathing room. Now, this is all pretty obvious material that just requires a bit of intuition and nothing too scientific. But it illustrates the point that one partner continuing to work, even at a lower income level, can provide a powerful defense mechanism to early and substantial portfolio withdrawals. Now, after seeing how retiring at the same time as your spouse can hurt your retirement success, you might be wondering how to figure out the optimal retirement timing for your situation. What I've learned from working with hundreds of couples is that most people struggle with knowing how to time their retirements to maximize their benefits and income. And the truth is, retirement timing isn't just about picking a date that feels right. It's about understanding how different retirement dates affect your withdrawal rates, your benefits from Social Security, your tax situation, and your long-term retirement success. That's exactly why I'm hosting a free class this week to show you how to optimize your retirement timing as a whole. The same strategies that have helped hundreds of retirees maximize their benefits and create stronger retirement plans. And this free class breaks down exactly how to approach retirement timing decisions to get the most from your Social Security and your retirement savings. So if you'd like to discover how to maximize your retirement, just click the link below in the description to register for the free class. Now, back to the rest of the video. The second problem that arises when couples retire at the same time is actually a small series of problems. If couples retire at the same time and do so before Medicare age, they often give up their health insurance benefits from their employers and end up thrust onto COBRA, or the private health insurance marketplace, which can be significant added expenses if not planned for. And those healthcare premiums for people in their 60s can often be as high as $1,000 per month per partner. Thus, having one partner that continues to work whose employer can cover both spouses' health insurance can be a huge source of savings. And not only that, but both partners retiring means both partners stop contributing to Social Security and lose out on Social Security's income tables, factoring in the spouse's high income earning years in the future Social Security benefit. In the scenario where a lower earning spouse has a Social Security benefit of more than half of the higher earning spouse, it may make sense for the lower earning spouse to continue working and accruing the additional future Social Security benefit, especially if working longer will also reduce healthcare costs and reduce the withdrawal rates on the portfolio. And this leads us to the third and final problem retirees face when retiring together, which is what I call the permission to spend problem. See, when both partners retire together, even if they have adequate funds to do so, they perform a complete 180-degree shift. They move from having two sources of income and potentially large annual savings to having no sources of income and potentially large annual withdrawals. This can be a huge psychological shock to the system that frequently results in some combination of the following, which is that either the couple chooses not to retire at all and delay because the shock of the withdrawals is too much to handle, or the couple withdraws dribbles of their money because they are uncomfortable with such a quick shift from saving to withdrawing. Now, in both of those scenarios, even when the couple would have an appropriate amount of money to retire, the couple would lose valuable, youthful years of their life delaying retirement or not spending what they could be as a result of that sticker shock. Therefore, staggering partners' retirement can help mitigate that sticker shock by making the transition more gradual. So if we use Steve and Amanda as an example here, in the scenario in which they retired together, they would go from having an annual income of over $220,000 per year and saving about $40,000 per year to immediately having no annual income and needing to withdraw $130,000 per year. That's this right there. However, in scenario 2, where Amanda continues to work those additional 2 years, they would go from an annual income of $220,000 to an annual income of $70,000, which is, yes, a steep decrease, but they'd only need to withdraw about $53,000 per year, which is less than half what they would be withdrawing in the first scenario. If we look at the full 6-year withdrawal timeline side by side, we can see that in the staggered retirement scenario, Steve and Amanda would have a much gentler glide path, one where they start with smaller withdrawals and then gradually flex their spending muscles and work their way up to larger withdrawals, as opposed to the shock of starting with huge withdrawals that then eventually subside, but come with a higher likelihood of having to make spending adjustments in early retirement. And in my experience, it's usually this psychological hurdle that is the most difficult to overcome among the 3 problems I've illustrated in today's video. Looking at the numbers in this manner can be a huge help in thinking strategically about how to overcome retirement roadblocks that would otherwise cause you to waste the youth of your retirement, despite the fact that you may have the financial means to retire. Now, before I wrap up, in my practice, I consistently see how coordinating different retirements can dramatically improve a couple's financial outcomes. Through the hundreds of retirement plans that I've reviewed, I've noticed that the most successful couples rarely retire at the exact same time, but between maximizing Social Security benefits, optimizing healthcare coverage, and extending peak earning years, timing your retirement can be incredibly difficult. So to help with this, I'm running a completely free class this week. In this class, I'm going to run through all the factors you should consider for your retirement. Just click the link in the description below to save your spot and learn the exact strategies I use to help my clients coordinate their retirement timing for maximum benefit. Thanks as always for your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next video.